Hello. That's a
Well, that
fantastic
works
welcome.
for everybody. Hello, welcome everybody to this week's Neureal
But my
Community live
computer's
stream.
not working. Why?
Uh-oh. Welcome to the March 3rd Neureal Community live stream. Uh-oh. I don't know if my mic's working. It looks like it is. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We are very happy to be here for another week. My name is Kyler. I'm the community manager for the Neureal project. I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to Will to go ahead and introduce himself for the week. Go ahead, Will. Uh-oh. Did it all freeze? I can't hear anybody. Hello? Uh-oh. I don't think they can hear me. I think you guys can hear me. I don't think they can hear me. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Hey! No, it's not better. They still can't hear me. Let's see if I can fix it somehow. Check, check. Hello? No, it looks like they can't hear me. Very interesting. So let me see if I can fix this somehow. Check, check. Hello, can you hear me now, Will? I can't hear you for some reason. Fantastic. This was all working literally 10 seconds before we started the stream. Let me see what I can do to fix it again. I'm going to exit and come back in one more time. Test, test. Will, can you take yourself off of mute? Let's see if we can hear you.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes! All right. Perfect. Now that we've got that taken care of, again, my name is Kyler Anderson. I am the community manager for the Neureal community. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Will to introduce himself real quick.
I'm Will Bend, one of the founders and chief architect of Neureal.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Jason, you're up.
Hello, guys. I'm Jason. I'm one of the marketing specialists here at Neureal and here to spread the knowledge of Neureal and help people get some more information and learn about what we do and build our community.
Fantastic. And finally, a rare treat. Jen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jen Grayson. I'm CEO of the Neureal project, and I get to keep everyone facing in the same direction, I guess, and proud to be part of the project.
Fantastic. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move into some weekly business. And boy, do I have some exciting weekly business. I have two great big announcements. And the first of which is that the new website is going to be ready Monday by 6 p.m. That is hot off the presses from the design team. We are so freaking excited and thrilled to finally have this ready. It looks unbelievably gorgeous, and we know you're all going to love it. So again, Monday at 6 is when that's going to go live. It's going to include our new blog section. And as a part of that, I'd like to announce that we've also created a Neureal Writers Circle. So if you'd like to submit articles to be considered to be published on our official blog, or just articles to be published in general that we can reward you for, go ahead and join that the Writers Circle, and then let us kind of give you some feedback and talk to the other members of the community. And then the second big bit of news is that according to the people who are handling our airdrop program, we are going to have the ability for people to sign up and start earning points or earning tokens through our airdrop come the Friday of this week. So I'm super thrilled about that. I expect that all to go really well. Will, do you have any business needs to be covered?
Not really. I just want to make sure that hopefully we can get those going and running and everything. There's always issues with this kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll be jumping in there to kind of finalize those parts, like getting them set up on the servers and hooking the domains and everything. So anyway, hopefully we can get it smoothly transitioned over and get those running as soon as you're hoping.
So we've actually got community here right now, guys. First of all, thanks for being here, shifting chords, and thank you so much for being here, Ethan. That'd be Ethan, one of our advisors, and he wants to know, Will, how soon we think we can get YouTube replaced by a functional decentralized video sharing platform. Not soon. All right.
Why haven't they done it yet? I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Jen, any news on your front?
Wow, I probably should have had something ready. No, nothing additional than what you've already said. I think is kind of the big stuff.
Good stuff.
What about the foundation? Did you guys talk about that?
Well, it's all still pending, so nothing concrete on anything there. Got some feedback from the Antigua attorney. Parliament is out, so we're hoping that the Attorney General will be able to sign the document that's been on his desk for 6 weeks now, and then looking at alternative options. So, but nothing back from any of those attorneys that we've submitted stuff to yet.
Yep, we submitted to a new attorney in St. Kitts Nevis. That was we got a paperwork to him Friday, or Thursday, but unfortunately we didn't hear back from him on Friday as to dispensing payment to them. So, however, St. Kitts Nevis has told us that it should take 5 business days? Jen, to get
less
the foundation
than
set
2
up there.
weeks. So.
So, on that front, we have been making significant progress, and I can tell you that I am so sick of calling lawyers, my head might explode. Oh, boy. By the way, if somebody could just work on a decentralized, essentially like a lynda.com app to be able to give honest reviews of lawyers in a decentralized fashion to where anybody could have access to them, that would be fantastic, and I would sign up and give you money. However, moving on. Thank you guys so much for being here. Will, I think we've got some interesting questions, but I'm going to pass the mic over to you for a bit just to talk about like what you got coming up for this next week and kind of the leave Will alone sort of sentiment that's going on.
Oh well, I'm getting into the actual token sale contract. Like I talked about before, there's 4 things we need in place to actually do the sale, so we can pull it off at a minimum. And that is the foundation in place to take the money, the proceeds of the sale, and then the sale contract itself, the Ethereum sale contract, at least to a point. Like we can't announce like solid dates, but once we kind of get this stuff done, or at least to a certain particular point, we'll feel comfortable with it, that we can put down the countdown and get that countdown started, and then we're assured that we can actually pull off the sale. So anyway, that's what I was talking about before. So it's the foundation, the actual sale contract, and the legal contracts finalized, and then also the KYC AML accredited site up and working. So I've taken the last 3 on, and so I am managing that's why I kind of need to focus so that I can get those 3 done with the I'm doing the contract myself, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But the other 2 are we have service providers that we picked that we're working with. So I just need to work with them and get the stuff that we're doing custom with them or whatever finalized. And so I should have some stuff for those soon, hopefully, like you guys are doing, the things you guys are talking about. Hopefully we get some good news about that. So the contract itself, I've started working on that, and the sell contract. So once I get that to a particular point where I feel comfortable, as far as I've done everything I can in it to put all the stuff that we've been talking about and get my first rev run at that. I will put it up on the GitHub so people can come check it out, and hopefully we can start recruiting. I'll go out and try to recruit some people from the communities or whatever. Try to contact some people and try to get them their eyeballs on it and kind of work on it together. We do have one group, local Bitcoin. I mean, not Bitcoin, but a local crypto kind of startup group, Dapply. If anybody's heard of them, they're kind of working with me to as far as the incentive structures and how everything works, and trying to make it so that it has some unique kind of crowd sale properties and set up correctly. They've got a lot of experience with crowd sales in general, doing equity crowdfunding and like Kickstarter crowdfunding and all sorts of stuff like that. So we're trying to figure out some of the best ways to like add to what we've already figured out. So we already have stuff, but looking at some other options and stuff like that for the contract. So anyway, as soon as I get a first rev and I put that up on GitHub, I'll hopefully before the next hangout, we'll post that link up on the announcements and everything, so that people will say, hey, we put the new thing, everybody go take a look at it, see if you have any can help with it. So anyway, so that's the plan.
Fantastic. Hey, not exactly Neureal focused, but we have been in talks with them, and Pierre's in the chat with us today, and he'd like to know, did we have any sort of conversation with the Titanium team regarding their hack? I'll go ahead and try and tackle that one a little bit. We reached out to them several times just to offer any kind of support we can. However, we haven't tried to pester them just because we figure they're probably, really busy trying to get stuff taken care of. And if they could use our help, they would probably reach out and ask. I've tried to reach out multiple times to Mr. Snook, but again, I figure he'll hit me back when he's ready to talk. So thanks for asking, Pierre. Moving on. Unless anybody else had anything they want to say about that.
I don't know enough about it. I probably.
No, I mean we discussed it in the back, and what you told me then was essentially like after the hack, the way they've handled it is the only good way to handle it. So anyhow, moving on. No, just no discussion with Michael Stolier. No, we've tried, but again, we figure they're probably busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. So yeah, we're going to let that lie for now. I'll let you know, Pierre, personally, I know that you've reached out and contacted me. I'll let you know as soon as I know something. No problem. So moving on, Will's getting the token sale taken care of. We're getting the the airdrop project taken care of. And I'd like to take just a second and talk about that a little bit. The really, really cool thing about our bounty projects is that we've said before, we want everybody to be able to take part in this. We want to be able to spread the tokens as widely as possible. We've been having some issues doing that, but we've figured out a really fun way to be able to engage this. There's a company who, Will, what was the other project that they've done this for?
I don't remember the name.
It's a decentralized health token app. And so it's kind of akin to us. And what they do is they essentially set up a really easy way to do airdrops. Not just airdrops in the traditional sense of, hey, give us your information, we'll give you free tokens. It's going to work kind of like that because some of the tasks we want you guys to do are very simple. They're just like following the Facebook, getting in the community, engaging in Telegram, that kind of stuff. But all of those tasks on the task list, we're also going to transition over to this airdrop thing, so that the reward for doing the tasks on the task list is now going to be automated through the airdrop program. We're also going to give you guys referral links that you guys can send to your friends and get them involved in the project, and you can get rewarded for doing so, but only, this is the important part, guys, we're giving out some tokens for these smaller things like just following us and just engaging on Telegram and that sort of thing. But in order to receive those, you have to complete at least one of these larger tasks. And that's going to be something like watching community live stream and waiting until the end. We're going to be giving out a code at the end of each weekly live stream. Additionally, guys, we have something kind of exciting that we're trying to work out within the community that I would very much like input on, if anybody knows a better way to do this, we'd like to start a prediction competition, just to kind of drive some interaction within the community itself. And if you guys have some, I personally think the easiest thing to do this with is just cryptocurrency price pairings, but I'd love to hear what the community would like to see us predict as a community. And the way that I'm trying to set this up with Jordan is to essentially give you guys some small kind of token idea of how the predictors on the Neureal system, or the Neureal network, will do what they're doing and interact with each other. So yeah, if you have any input or any ideas about how to implement that, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. All right, I'm not sure what to go into next. Does anybody want to?
Is there any questions? Any more questions?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen any yet. I can go over some of the better questions this week, but they're mostly going to be questions we've answered before, but that's always fine.
One thing I did, speaking of that, we do have, we kind of finalized our initial documentation. So I know we don't have the product up and going, but we wanted to get started on documentation because after we have our sale, we're going to be kind of getting into the development process. And so as we do that, we'll be putting up documentation for the project as it goes forward on our website. And what I mean by documentation is actually programming documentation, in essence. Like, how do you the first initial interaction with Neureal and how we do it and everything will be well, the first will be for particular projects like custom stuff. But once we get the Neureal, the beginnings of the actual Neureal network platform, people will need to, we'll be coming in to like test things out and all that kind of stuff, getting started with that. So we'll have online programmer documentation on how to interact with it. So we have that already. And if you're interested in like finding out about the thinking on a like more of a functional level rather than the how rather than the why of Neureal, if you jump into our dev chat, we've got links to the documentation in there.
Very cool.
We can put it up to somewhere if you want.
Now that documentation is what people are going to need in order to contribute coding effort to the project, correct?
Yeah, but it gives you a kind of a concise, very technical overview of what we're planning, rather than the implications. Rather, like, this is particularly how you interact with it in a general sense. Like, and then eventually specific sense as those details are filled in.
Very exciting. I'm loving that. And then, just because there's been some confusion, did you want to talk a little bit about? Well, no, never mind. I think we've already sorted that out. So let me scroll up and see some of the better questions from this week. The main question that I got this week, Will, was, and it kept coming up over and over and over again, how do we compare against multiple different other projects, and specifically how we compare against Endor? And I think it might be an interesting moment for you to run through some of that with us real quick.
Well, you guys actually did more research than I did, so
that's true.
I looked at their code and I was like, there wasn't really anything there. So, so maybe Jen and you can talk about it because you guys did most of the research.
Sure, Jen. I've been running my mouth all night. Why don't we? Are you up for talking about that a little bit?
I can talk about it to the extent that I know. Basically, from what we can tell, they are, I think, a little less optimal as far as being decentralized. It looks like they're going to be a little bit more of a centralized product. And I know, for one, they're going to try to run it on Ethereum's blockchain. And Will has always said from the beginning that we're going to create our own blockchain after we fork something else. So that's kind of a big difference from the technical aspect. I'm not sure what else.
Sure. So our platform, I mean, just to lay it out, our platform is not, it's built for AI, but it is not AI itself. And what I mean by that is we use our blockchain was built to be a place where AI, it was built for AI to be able to compete. And so we really are a blockchain managed competition platform in essence, right? So I was on this interview with one of these guys that I can't remember the name of the platform where they, what is that called? Not AMA, it was something else. Haro or something.
Oh yeah, help a reporter out, Haro.
Yeah. So I was interviewing with a guy in there, and somehow he'd learned that I compared us to Kaggle, right? And so he assumed that we work exactly like Kaggle, but that's not true either. We don't work. Our platform doesn't work exactly like Kaggle, but it has the same purpose as Kaggle, but in a decentralized way. So, Kaggle connects. So, I mean, comparing to other projects, I mean, there's cryptocurrency projects out there, but there's also industry systems already in place, right? So how do we fit into the larger picture of everything, right? And, our purpose, our blockchain purpose is to provide the most efficient platform for decentralized competition for predicting the future. Predicting the future, not the future, because that entails events. Predicting future data, right? Future data streams. And so what that means is, I think I talked about it last time with the chart, right? Where the chart goes like this, and then Neureal figures out the future of that chart. So and it's not just events. It's not like, oh, tomorrow's the price is going to be 25. It shows all the prices for the future. It's a curve that goes into the future, right? And it sees the future. So the point of Neureal is to see the future, not to like foretell particular events in the future. Although, that's possible. You could analyze and get that information from it.
Yeah, that actually brings us into a good question from one of our viewers that's watching the live stream right now. They say, Forex trading is heavily impacted by calendar-marked news events. These events have an impact in fractions of a second after they're made public. Things like job numbers. Any thought to using Neureal to predict crypto impact of these news events and their likely outcome?
Yeah, I mean, that's an intrinsic part of the platform. That's what's going to happen, basically. Is that it incentivizes that kind of stuff, and especially since it's built for AI, that means that an algorithm that goes out and scours the internet and watches stuff like that, is going to be able to outcompete other algorithms that do the same thing. I mean, that do more simpler things like analysis. You may have a bunch of predictors that are throwing random predictions out, just random, rolling dice. Here, what can I get? I can just do fishing, Then there's predictors who are like, I'm doing intrinsic, what is it called? Analysis of just the data itself, which is technical analysis. So I'm going to do technical analysis, and I'm going to do a little better than the random dudes, right? And then there's going to be the guys who are like, there's all this data out there, there's probably triggers and things like that, because really they figure out that what they're trying to predict is human behavior.
Makes sense.
In the situation of the world. And so they realize, hey, if I give the data to the machine, it can sit there and watch the world and figure out human behavior patterns and figure out what triggers human behavior.
And figure out different indicators of when those triggers have been tripped. Yeah.
Yeah. Where the whales are, who they are, when they're going to come in.
Those Moby Dicks are going to burn in hell, but okay. All right. Does that answer your question, Ethan? I think it should. And while I'm waiting for your answer, Will, there's another one I want to lay on you real quick. A lot of people when they hear me talk about it, they go, "Oh, so you guys are essentially like Numerai, or I guess more specifically, they compare us to different decentralized prediction markets that are kind of being set up." And I mean, I've explained in my own words why we're not a prediction market and how prediction markets actually fit into the Neureal ecosystem. But could we hear that from you real quick?
So prediction markets are human-based betting systems. So you bet, as a human, you bet on events in the future. And it's the same thing I just talked about. One of the things that I keep running into, though, that is a little bit different than that, which is it's a misconception that's similar but different. A lot of people think that Neureal, the purpose of Neureal is to find a model, a data science model that is going to predict the future, right? A specific, like a model to rule the model, or a model that is, the reason why is because most people who've done any kind of AI or looked into AI, they see that that's the normal way that people do it today. And so, for instance, Neureal. So you said it's a prediction market. It's not. Neureal is not I don't think so. It doesn't pay out based on bets.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I said probably not a good example with Numerai, because it's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
But what were those prediction markets that I'm trying to think of?
Augur and
Augur, that's right.
Gnosis. Those are event-based systems. So like you predict what's going to outcome of some of the elections or something like that, and then you bet on them. Ours is about the data. So Neureal is more like ours, where you get a model. I think they're closest to us in that they provide. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that the competitors provide the predictions, not provide the models.
Right.
But if you go to Kaggle, and they have competitions, and you put up a competition, right? It's like the Netflix competition. It's the same thing we've been talking about forever. When you put up a competition on Kaggle, you provide as a competitor, you provide your model to them, because they want the model at the end so they can put it into production.
Right.
Right. So that's what their whole deal is, right? But the problem with that is that the model needs to change all the time.
Yeah, because software is never finished. But the way that they build it right now, those models are one and done.
They're one and done, which is, it's just not
suboptimal.
What about the one next year? Whatever. I mean, it takes these guys. The reason they do it is because it takes them, sometimes up to a year from hiring a data scientist to putting a model into production. It takes sometimes a year.
Whew. Crazy stuff. So, hey, Kate, real quick, Ethan got back to us and he says he mostly answers his question. He just wants to make sure he understands. So Neureal can look at a certain set of stock data, look at their publicly reported data, and try to find correlations to things like coming job reports and things like that.
Yeah, so it's not so much that Neureal is doing it particularly. I mean, it offers the platform to coordinate that effort in essence. So there's the different layers. The top layer is the prediction platform, the prediction, whatever you want to call it. The prediction. I don't know the best thing to call it, store or whatever.
Network is what I would say.
Network.
That's really what it is.
The prediction network. Okay, so you have the prediction network, which is the competition platform. And all it does is provide the communication. And the language of that communication is the prediction itself. You can go up and look at the predictions. Like you have the metadata. Here's a particular data stream. You could say the BTC to USD price. So here's BTC to USD price, right? That's a particular data stream. We call it Oracle. That Oracle has metadata associated with it, with the initial transaction. So you can coordinate, like, what is this going on here that's being predicted, right? Well, you can use any of that data for all the things going on. So there's all this communication on the blockchain. You can read and analyze the blockchain, the Neureal blockchain, to get the, like, an overview of what's being predicted, what the prediction of all these different things are, right? So you can cross-use that data. That's one thing, and that's the coordination between the different, prediction engine processes or whatever that we don't control, like that are agnostic. I mean, the neural network itself doesn't control.
Yeah.
Right. So, so there's that communication there. So, as an example, like in our white paper, we talk about it. Somebody can be predicting the price of silver over here, and then the people over here are reading that prediction and predicting the price of gold, right? Which, if they correlate at all, it'll find those correlations, right, in that actual predictive data. Now, that being said, that's something that people use, but there's also outside data sources. So if I'm a predictor on gold, that's what I said earlier, is that there's levels of different types of predictions people can do. So I, as a predictor for gold, may realize that, hey, I need to grab from this data source right here. So I'm putting these predictions up that I have access to this data source, right? Well, I may be doing that, but somebody else has access to a different data source. So they're predicting on that same chain, right? That same, Bitcoin to USD or something.
Right.
And so we're all predicting there, and they're providing predictions that have to do with some data over here. I'm providing predictions that have to do with some other data somewhere else. And what I mean by that is like what Ethan just said, like any kind of data that's out there. And because it's decentralized, so we're all predicting the same, like on the same thing. Well, to gain value out of that, what you're doing is a weighted average over time, or another neural network on top of that to get the prediction, right? Well, over time, it's going to figure out those correlations. This other a weighted average works pretty good, but we're thinking also of doing some sort of a neural network that just reads the predictions and figures out over time which ones are the best, and watches that and changes itself. So there's two different ways you can get a lot of value out of just a weighted average. And a weighted average just means that over time you keep a weight for each one of the predictors, and you do an average over time of those. So an average to get your actual value. So if it's like if predictor A predicts 5, and the other guy predicts 2, but you get an average of that. That's 3.5 or whatever. So that's an average, but a weighted average means you weight this guy that has the 5 because he's done well in the past.
Makes sense. So that means that it doesn't take too long for a new and better algorithm to rise to the top, but it does mean that it's taking what is previously shown to be the best and weighting it in the averaging as it's trying to spit out an answer. And I know that that's something that a lot of people have asked before, is like, how are we going to know which answer to listen to if they're all just a bunch of answers coming in and then we don't know which one's accurate until the event actually happens. And exactly what Will just said there is the answer to that, is that who's been most accurate in the past. And there's as he said, there's two ways. And I love the second idea too, of having a Neureal oracle about which predictor is the most accurate given a given data stream. But yeah, that's fantastic.
No, that's not right. What you said isn't right. That's not what I was saying. I was saying
yours
having
is
an
the weighted
actual neural network. No, I was saying not do a Neureal oracle, but actually have an actual neural network do it, rather than just a weighted average.
Oh, very.
A weighted average is a way to do that, and a lot of people do that in data science. Remember, these are not unique processes that mainly we incorporated them into the blockchain. It's stuff that the data scientists do all the time. This is nothing new. I mean, people do weighted averages for their models. I mean, they do ensembles, and people who do data science know how to do that, and it's a standard thing, and it's very powerful. But it doesn't mean that there's not something a little better. Like if you put a small network that you use, instead of a weighted average, you actually have a neural network that a type of neural network, like an efficient little mini neural network, right, that sits there and watches that. You can do that. But our platform is built so that all the clients can run. It's not part of the protocol that how they get the value out of the predicted data. So any client can run different types of ways of doing that.
That's very cool. Okay, so that'll be part of setting up an oracle, is deciding how you want to listen to who's predicting. No. That's not what you just said? Okay.
No, that's not what I said. I said if you're getting value out of it.
Oh, okay.
But which an oracle will get value, but they may not be the only ones, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Perfect. Every client gets to look at the blockchain.
Right.
And so every client gets to decide like how they or every node or whatever, every client gets to decide how they analyze that prediction data to get value out of it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let me see if I've got any other questions. Yeah, Ethan just says, so different predictors could change and decide which different stocks and financial reports they look at day to day. Absolutely. That is the job of the predictors to crawl through all of that data for a given oracle, essentially. All right, guys.
And one more thing on that, just to finalize that. Even though the Neureal network, I just want to iterate, even though the Neureal network itself is that layer is agnostic to the algorithms, we are going to provide a default prediction algorithm so that people, for the whole cryptocurrency thing. So we're going to provide an open source prediction algorithm that everyone that's a general purpose algorithm, and so with some certain things, so people can have that be a part of it. It'll ship with it or whatever, and then that'll do more of the things that people are generally interested in and think about when they think about AI, right? It'll actually be AI, and we'll be providing that as well with the platform.
Fantastic. All right. Well, guys, we've got 15 minutes left. I don't know that we have any more business to cover, and I don't know that we have any good questions from this last, lots of questions, but mostly really easily answered and were already answered beforehand. So if anybody's got anything they want to talk about, we can talk about it. If not, we can end it early. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I don't know what else, man. I can talk forever. So I'm not gonna. I'm hoping I probably won't. Maybe I don't know if I'll come in, but if you guys could figure something out, as far as huh?
I just got a question, and it's for Jason. You ready, Jason?
I'm ready.
All right. Our advisor asks, Neureal marketing magic people, will Neureal have a solid Twitter presence anytime soon?
Yes, we're currently working on that, and the Twitter community is huge, and a lot of people have a lot of questions on Twitter, so we're going to make sure that we get a lot of those asked, and we do know that Twitter, people really share their mind, and we know that if any questions that they have, they're going to probably bring them to Twitter. Twitter is a community that's, as you guys all know, open-minded. It's not like Facebook, where it's a hybrid of content and questions. It's more of just questions only. So we'll definitely be building that up, and we're going to start posting content on a consistent basis through that, making sure that we have the relevant hashtags so that way you guys can join in on those hashtags as well, and just building our community through that. And I'm glad you asked, because that's very important, and we know that you guys are there too, so we didn't forget about you. So yeah, any more questions?
Facebook is a hybrid of you know what, I'm not going to read his answer to that, but just know that he agrees with you. No, guys, and it's a very fair point. We've spent about a week where I have been less engaged just because we've been trying to get the foundation figured out, trying to get this bounty program figured out. Fortunately, I've got people engaged and working on that now, and I'm going to have a lot more time. We've also brought on besides Jason, two other really fantastic marketing people. We've got Jared, who is going to be the actual one scheduling and sending posts out this next week. He should have started, I think he actually sent out one post via Buffer today. And then we've got a very, very aggressive schedule coming this next week. We've got a bunch of articles and backlog that will be going up on the new website starting Monday. And those are all going to be pushed out through the social media channels as well. So if you are a reader, prepare to be in Neureal heaven. We are going to just drown you in content. Is there anything else from anybody? Any other questions you guys want to ask? I'm going to give a good sweep through the Telegram and a good sweep through the chat here. If not, then thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate the entire community's involvement. If you have any questions afterwards, we're always more than happy to have you go on to Telegram. If you're not already a member of the Telegram and you're watching this video right now, you're doing yourself a disservice, guys, because there's a lot of great conversation that happens there. There's a lot of articles get shared over on the Telegram, and we'd love to hear more from you. In fact, we'd like that channel to be kind of popping. Head on over there right now. You can find the link to it. Actually, I will link it in the comment or in the description of this video as soon as it goes up. So head on over to the Telegram and engage with us. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like and subscribe button and a little bell icon so you'll know when we go live. There's the possibility that myself and the marketing team might do a couple of other videos over the next coming weeks that won't be scheduled on the same Saturday live streaming thing. We're going to have to see if we can get those. We're going to see if Jason and I can get our stuff together and be able to do some pretty serious question and answer live streams where we actually bring some community members on the stream itself to come and talk through their questions. That'll be a good time. So if you're interested in doing that, again, hit us up, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody want to say bye?
Bye. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you guys later.
See you next week.